The Texans do the unthinkable, make the playoffs. Some of y'all need to keep that same energy.
That would be so awesome.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? You tuned to Sports Talk with Big Sarge. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter and Big Sarge Sports, the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. And make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel, Big Sarge Media and Texans Tailgate Talk. Oh, and read all my articles on www.bigsarge.com. Man, what's going on, y'all? It's been a minute. Y'all ain't here to hear all that, though. I already know what y'all are here to hear. And listen, before we even get started, right? Before we even get started, you see what the title is, right? Keep that same energy when it comes to the Texans talk, right? Keep that same energy because the Texans did the unthinkable and they made the playoffs after going 0-3. And the reason why I say keep that same energy, because there was a lot, let me fix this. There was a lot of media, local media personalities out there that didn't think that it was going to happen. There was a lot of fans that was jumping ship after the 0-3 start. There was a lot of people that wanted D'Amico fired. They wanted CJ Stroud benched. They wanted Nick Caserio fired after going 0-3. There was a lot of people out there that were talking down on the Houston Texans. You know who wasn't, though? Big Sarge. Hey, y'all hold on for 1 second. I tell y'all right now, hey, you Russian bots that like to pop up on my stuff, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and delete. Ban and delete. Ban and delete. But, hey, that was one person, right? That was one person who didn't. Y'all give me a second because I remember that person. Hold on. I meant to pull up his video. Yeah, I meant to pull up the video of that person. Y'all give me a second. Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to share my screen with you all that's watching me. No, that ain't what I'm looking for. Hey, y'all hold on for a second. I've got to do this. And I'm sorry, y'all. I hope in 2026 I can find somebody to help me get through all of these things because there's just too much going on when it comes to these Russian bots. All right. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to let me go ahead and set this thing up. So 3 months ago, I was on the podcast with Chancellor Johnson, DJ BNMA, and Jonathan M. Alexander. This was right after the 0-3 start. And we were asked about the percentages of what percentage we give the Houston Texans to make the playoffs. Give me 1 second. Share me go ahead and pull this up. Said though, I give them like in between a 50 and 55% chance of still winning the division and making the playoffs. Said though, I give them like in between a 50 and 55% chance of still winning the division and making the playoffs. Said though, I give them like in between a 50 and 55% chance of still winning the division and making the playoffs. Okay, y'all give me a second. All right. Let me get out of there right quick. So, yeah, give me a second. Vibes 6208. Why would you do that? Like, why? I don't even know who you are. Man, with such a cool, you know what? I'm gonna give you an opportunity. You know what? I'm gonna give you an opportunity. I'm gonna delete your comment, but I'm not gonna kick you out of here. Jesus, why would you do that? With such a cool screen name. Anyway, I digress. Y'all heard that. I played it 3 times. 3 times. God damn it. Wait, hold on. How far? Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm taking my victory lap. I'm taking my victory lap because I said it. And I didn't just say it, as someone said on the show today. Sarge just throwing darts blindly in the dark, hoping that it hit the board. No, Negro, I did not. I told you why. I told you why I said that, and I gave you all reasons on that show why I still believe that the Houston Texans would make it to the playoffs. And God damn it if they didn't do it. Forgive me, Lord, for cussing. Put my hand on my heart. Didn't I tell y'all? I told you there was so many media members, local media members, radio personalities. Hey, look, y'all know me. Radio personalities, journalists, content creators, all y'all were ready to jump ship. All y'all were ready to fire D'Amico Ryans. All of you all wanted CJ Stroud bench. All of you all wanted, and I'm talking about certain ones when I say all. I'm putting them all together. Y'all wanted the Texans organization to just disband the whole organization, shut it down, and try to start all over. And I told you, hey, when it comes back around, when that thing come back around, just say Sarge told you so. Just like I told them on that show, 50 to 55% that they would still make the playoffs. And that was when they were 0-3. And they still made it. I'm gonna take my victory lap. I'm gonna chop this up. I'm gonna make sure that I get all the AI stuff out, and I'm gonna chop this thing up because I told you. I've had numerous conversations. I had numerous conversations in the Texans press conference, Texans media workroom. I had numerous conversations at the barbershop. I had numerous conversations at the outlets. I had numerous conversations at the Rockets games, and I kept telling you, "Hey, bro, if you're a real fan of the Texans, don't jump ship. Just because it looks bad now, it won't look that way by the end of the season." So, with that being said, don't backtrack. Keep that same damn energy. Don't backtrack. Stand 10 toes down. Because what have I always told y'all? Sarge stands 10 toes down in whatever he say. If I say it, I believe it. 10 toes down. 0-3. I stood 10 toes down and said they're going to make the playoffs. And guess what? If they win on Sunday and the Jags lose on Sunday, they win the division. Told you. I told you. You know what? After the game on Saturday at SoFi Stadium, one of the media members asked me, Sarge, because I'm going to tell you like this. It's one of the media members that travels that told me when I told him at the beginning of the season that Azeez Al-Shaair was a Pro Bowl linebacker. He told me that Azeez wasn't. I'm not going to say his name. I'm just going to tell you. He told me that Azeez Al-Shaair was not a Pro Bowl linebacker. If you've been living under a rock, or if you've been off social media, if that's, you're getting ready, if that's your New Year's thing, you're getting yourself geared up. In case you missed it, Azeez Al-Shaair got voted to the Pro Bowl. He was a Pro Bowl selection, not as an alternate. He got voted onto the roster. I let him know that on Saturday. Hey, man. Hey, you remember when you had said that Azeez wasn't a Pro Bowl linebacker? Remember I told you he's a Pro Bowl linebacker and you said that he wasn't? And then then that thing happened, and then because I seen on your social media, you even talked about it. So, yeah. So that was the first thing. And then when we got down to the visitors press conference room, we're sitting in there, and I said, somebody was asking me a question. I said, oh, no, I don't care nothing all about that. What I care about is I can't wait until Jonathan and DJ walks in here so I can tell them I told you so. And the other media member asked me, hey, Sarge, what you gonna do? What you gonna do with all your I told you so's? I said, I'm gonna use them when I go to heaven. Because when I go to heaven, there's gonna be some people up there. I'll be like, bro, you left this earth too early. Hey, but you remember in 2000, I told you that big t-shirts wasn't gonna last forever. It was just a phase that y'all was going through. Remember I told you that? I told you the big shirts, the big t-shirts, in the snap. I ain't gonna even lie. The snap era was amazing. Side note. Hey, hold on. The I ain't gonna lie. The snap era was amazing. It was. Anyway, I digress. I told you so. Now that I've gotten that off of my chest, once again, tune in Sports Talk with Big Sarge. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. All right, so the Texans do the unthinkable and they make the playoffs. And that was hard to believe. I know that I'm gonna cap me a tall T. The snap era was classic. Yes, it was. But now that we've gotten all that other stuff out of the way, I can understand why some people did not think that the Houston Texans would make the playoffs after going 0-3 because of so many expectations that people had for the team coming in. But even if you look at that 0-3 start, one of the things that kept me so optimistic about the Houston Texans still being able to make the playoffs was the manner in which they were losing. They weren't getting blown out, even though they had a reshuffled offensive line, even though they had a first-time offensive play caller. CJ Stroud was in his second offensive system in 3 years. Like, you had rookies coming in that was going that had to adapt to playing in the NFL. Even after all of that, right? I still say I'm watching the manner in which they're losing these games. And if you look at week 1, they lost against the Rams on a Dare Ogunbowale fumble, right? He doesn't fumble that in the red zone. They might pull that game out and win. Week 2, if Henry To'oTo'o doesn't come in all gas, no brakes, and breaks down and stops and gets in front of Baker Mayfield instead of overrunning him, the Texans stop him from scrambling and them getting that field goal at the end to win the game. Week 3, if Nico Collins doesn't do the most uncharacteristic thing that he's ever done in his NFL career, and that's fumble for the second time in 5 years. If he doesn't fumble, then guess what happens? If he doesn't fumble, Guess what happens? The Texans could have started the year 3-0 instead of 0-3. At best, 2-1. And so you're watching these games, and even after week 3, something that Aziz Al-Shaair said in the locker room was, I asked him the question about the cliche of taking it week to week, playing game by game, taking it one game at a time. And he said that's not cliche. That's what they do. He said, and that's why they keep the score. And he said they keep the score for the results. Titus Howard said the exact same thing. He said all we got to do is take it one game at a time, and if we take it one game at a time, we'll see the results. And that's what they did. Like the Houston Texans aren't just like they didn't just put that on 3 start behind them. They pushed it to the back. Now, I will say this. I don't care. I will go on record by saying it. And whoever wants to clip it up, clip it up. It doesn't matter to me. Because we talked about this and I told you all this. I told you all this after week 3 and after they released CJ Gardner-Johnson. A lot of the blown defensive assignments was because CJ Gardner-Johnson was doing his own thing instead of playing within the system. And so in those first 3 games, sometimes you'll look and you say, hey, something ain't right about this defense. The system, the system is designed for this to happen. But if there's one thing out of whack or out of line, out of the system, then you start to see it. There could be a breakdown here or a breakdown there because these players have been playing together for so long and they know each other so well. They know exactly what each other is supposed to be doing. And so if everybody's supposed to be flowing to the left and then somebody flows right, now you're like, wait a minute, hold on, bro. We're all flowing to the left. We're all swarming to the left. And then you jump out to the right. Now all of a sudden, now everything starts to get out of whack because somebody has to take that position where you left it down. Everybody has to cover down. Notice how after CJ Gardner-Johnson was gone, how things started to click. How things started to click. The Houston Texans are currently what, 11-5? 11-5, right? In their last, I'm right? 11-5. 16, yeah, because they can go 12. In their last, what, 12 games? I'm trying to think. Yes, over their last 13 games. Okay, I just had to make sure that I had that right. Over their last 13 games, the Houston Texans are 11-2. People are talking so much about the Jacksonville Jaguars, and rightfully so. Jacksonville has turned their season around as well. And what I mean by turning around, you didn't know what you were going to get in there, and with their coach Liam Cohen, who he was the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if I'm not mistaken, but he had to get adjusted to being over there. But like they're playing good. A lot of people are talking about the way that the Denver Broncos are playing, a team that the Houston Texans, I feel, this is just my opinion, this is Sarge's opinion, I feel that they would have beaten the I feel like that the Texans would have beaten the Denver Broncos if CJ doesn't go out with the concussion. And so, they're talking about the way Jacksonville is playing. They're talking about the way that the Patriots are playing. They're talking about the way that the Broncos are playing. But the Houston Texans have been like the hottest team over the last 2 months. They are 11-2 in their last 13 games, and they're currently on an 8-game winning streak. They could potentially end this season on a 9-game winning streak, which would be exactly what the Houston Texans did back in 2018. The 2018 Houston Texans team was the last team to go to start the season 0-3 and make the playoffs. That's including a 9-game winning streak within the season. So the Houston Texans have gotten it together for the most part. I know that we know that I know that we know that they are the number 1 team as far as the number 1 defense in the NFL. And we know the offense has to take a little step up, but we'll get there. So the Texans won 20-16 over the Los Angeles Chargers this past Saturday. And one of the reasons why I waited to do this show, because I needed everybody else to get what they needed to get out. I needed everybody else to get what they were going to say about the Texans out. I needed them to get all of the criticism and things like that out. Get it out. Go ahead, get it out. I didn't listen to it. I just said I'm going to wait because I feel like on Sports Talk with Big Sarge, you get an honest opinion, an honest take from someone who's actually around the team on a consistent basis, someone who travels with the team, someone who is at practice every day. I feel the exact same way when it comes to the Houston Rockets. I am there daily. So if you follow me, you're not just getting my opinion, you're getting the things that I'm seeing. You're getting a lot of the facts. You're getting a lot of the stuff that I get out of the locker room from talking to the players. You're getting all of that. And so I waited till everybody got what they needed to say out. And so now let me tell you about what I saw from the game. So the final score was 20-16, right? And which is the way that the game started out. Of course, you're looking and you're saying to yourself, hey man, the Houston Texans should blow the Chargers out, especially with on their first offensive series, they go 75, have a 75-yard pass to rookie wide receiver Jaden Higgins, and then they backdoor that on the second offensive series and throw a 43-yard bomb to rookie wide receiver Jalen Noel. So now they're up 14-0, and I knew that the Texans, even with a 14-point lead, was not going to blow the Los Angeles Chargers out. And the reason why is because the Chargers also have a top 5 defense. What the Texans were able to do was to catch them out of what they like to do or what they want to do in those first 2 series, and CJ took advantage of it, and they went up 14-0. But I knew that they were going to adjust and things were going to change, and they weren't going to give up those explosives like they had did in the first 2 offensive series. And so when you look at the score, right? When you look at the score, the Houston Texans are the number one in scoring defense, meaning that they hold opponents to 16 points per game. They're number one. They hold their opponents to 16 points a game. You know how many points the Chargers hold their opponents to? 20. Now, if the Texans hold their opponent to 16, and I know we're talking about a missed field goal, we're talking about a missed extra point. And side note, one of those scoring drives that the Chargers had was aided because the Texans defense had multiple penalties on that drive. They don't have multiple penalties on that drive. I don't know if the Chargers scored 10 points. They scored 10 points at best. But the Texans hold teams to 16 points. The Chargers scored 16 points. The Chargers hold teams to 20 points. The Texans scored 20 points. So even just by law of averages coming in, the Texans already had the advantage. And then they go up 14-0. So I tweeted this out during the game because I didn't see anybody else talking about it. And this is the advantage that I have from being at the game, watching the game, and seeing all the intricacies and the nuances of what's going on, right? And so what they started to do, and DJ Bieneme from ESPN made a great point today on the show. He said they started doing simulated pressures, and they were simulating the pressures, but they was also bringing the pressure. They were walking up the linebackers from their normal position, putting them closer to the line of scrimmage. And it's at one point they were even walking safety Derwin James down. What they did was exactly what Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator from the Kansas City Chiefs, did to the Houston Texans in the third quarter of the game that they played a couple of weeks ago. Bringing pressures, simulated pressures. It's one of those things that a first-year offensive coordinator is not used to. And rightfully so. That's what you're supposed to do to a newbie. That's what you're supposed to do to a neophyte that is calling his plays for the first time. You throw all these different wrinkles at him to see how he's going to adjust. And as a first year offensive play caller, you're like, wait a minute, whoa, 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 whoa. These defensive looks, like I've seen them before when I was a position coach, but I've seen them before when I had to call the plays. And so when what they did was, what the Chargers did was started throwing different looks at Nick Caley, and it took him a while to get adjusted to doing those type of things. That's why I don't even know what that means. Y'all give me a second. Bye. Told you I will delete you. But that's exactly what they did. They came down and they brought more people into the box. And what I would like to see, and I'm hoping that now that Nick Caley has been able to see something like that for the last two times, yeah, I banned him already. What Nick Caley seeing that for the last for two times now, knowing that other teams are going to try to follow that same suit when they get into the playoffs, I would like to see more screen passes to Jawar Jordan and Woody Marks. If they can get more screen passes to Jawar Jordan and Woody Marks, I think that slows down some of what these defenses are going to try to do. Also, during that game, you got two players in Blake Fisher and Jared Patterson who hasn't played starter minutes like that in a very long time. And so they're protecting CJ's blind side because Ariante Ursary, the rookie left tackle, was out with the hand injury, and then Trent Brown was out right tackle with a knee and an ankle injury. So Titus Howard had to move from left guard to right tackle. Jared Patterson went to left guard, and Blake Fisher played left tackle. And they did not do a bad job because they didn't allow any sacks, right? They didn't allow any sacks, but they allowed a lot of pressure and a lot of stuff being around CJ. And so, CJ I like the fact that CJ was able to get rid of the ball. I would have liked to see CJ make some better passes. Like, CJ didn't play a completely clean game, but he didn't play a completely bad one, not to me. And even with the two interceptions, there's some things that we could discuss about that later on my New Year's Eve show that we'll discuss. But I like the fact that the Houston Texans offense, did just enough to be able to win that game. And what CJ said in the press conference was, what CJ said in the press conference was, this league is a lot of one score games being played. A lot of games are being won by one score. And I mean, you look at the Colts game this past, Colts versus the Jags this past week. You look at Buffalo versus the Eagles, one score. You look at the Browns versus the Steelers, one score. So there's a lot of one score games that goes on. A lot of one score games that go on in the league, and so for them to be able to get that type of victory against the Chargers on Saturday was really good. And so the defense balled out. And let me say this. The one thing that has happened ever since the Houston Texans hired DeMeco Ryans is he brought a different type of mindset. He brought a different type of mentality to that locker room and that organization as a whole, but definitely that locker room. And so when you see Azeez Al-Shaair go down, when you see Derek Stingley go down, when you see Kamari Lassiter go down, Kamari Lassiter, who told DeMeco, hey, I'm not missing this game. He went down in the second quarter, missed the rest of the half. By the beginning of the third quarter, he was back in the game. So he said, Coach, I'm not missing this game. Like, not this one. I'm not. And DeMeco said that one of the reasons why he loves his team because everybody knew what was at stake and they played through that. Like Derek Stingley Jr. has been playing. Derek Stingley Jr. has been playing with an oblique injury for a very long time. Kamari's been playing with a foot injury. That isn't what took him out of the game. Petrie rolled up on him and it messed up his knee. Um, when you look at Aziz, he had a stinger, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, these players was like, I'm not coming out of this game. And after the game in the locker room, I was asking, I asked Will Anderson, I asked Daniil Hunter, I asked these players about just their teammates being able to push through those injuries and stay on the field for their teammates to fight for their brothers. And all of them said the same thing. It's like, yo, we knew what was at stake. Side note, hey man, I know he gets a lot of flack, and I know one of the reasons why he did not make the Pro Bowl because he didn't play a definitive position on the offensive line. But Titus Howard is balling. Titus Howard is balling. Titus Howard should have been selected to the Pro Bowl, in my opinion, only because of his versatility. Only because of his versatility and the way that he's able to play multiple positions on the line at any given time. And with him being able to play any position like that at any given time, like I don't know if they take that into consideration. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot there. Look, there's a lot of good offensive linemen in this league. But I just feel like Titus should have got some type of consideration, seeing what he has done, being able to move up and down the line. So Houston Texans, they got one more game, one more regular season game against the Colts. I asked D'Amico Ryans on Monday, is he going to play the starters? He said, yeah, I'm going to play the starters because we still got a lot to play for, right? We still got a lot to play for, and the division is still in play. This is 2023 all over again. This is 2023 all over again. You remember week 18, the Houston Texans went to Indianapolis and they had to beat the Colts in a win or go home game. They won that game on Saturday night, and then they went back and they watched on Sunday the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were in control of the AFC South, lose to the Tennessee Titans 28-20, and they missed the whole playoffs. And so they're playing for something, and it's crazy because they're playing at the same time. They're playing at the same time. Hold on for a second. Chat. I mean, they saying, Sarge, would you say Herbert had a better game, but CJ made more plays? No. Nah, I wouldn't. And the reason why I wouldn't is because, like, outside of that play where Herbert got hit and still stayed up and would continue to get, more yardage, what did he do? If you give Herbert that play, right? You give Herbert that play, then you got to give CJ his props for the first two offensive series where he hit players in stride. I don't know. I will not say that Herbert had a better game than CJ. I can't. Why is it like an Instagram live? That's because I go live and this is what I do, because I like to interact with the people who are watching me live. So we're going to get to the comments. Y'all know I'm going to come back in the chat in just a second. Let me see what time it is because I got to pick my wife up from work. I'll get back in the chat in just a second. But the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars play at the exact same time. So I'm wondering, is D'Amico going to be scoreboard watching that game? Because I feel like if it gets to a point where it looks like Jacksonville is just going to run away with the game, I'm pretty sure he'll start resting some of his starters, knowing that the only thing he needs to do is win the game and they'll have the fifth seed. But if there's still something to play for, those players are going to play for it. They're gonna play for it. Hey, heavy pockets. You see that? About to be 54. About to be 54. Still got a hairline. Still got a little gray, but you see that. Good hair. Hey, heavy pockets. That's for you, my guy. And now you got to get your ass about my chat. Goodbye. I don't know why these people don't believe that I put them up out my chat. I will ban you. I digress. So another thing that I want to touch on before I got off of here is this. With the criticism that that a lot of people, with the criticism that a lot of people gave the Houston Texans by only beating the Chargers 20-16, y'all do realize that the Chargers are 11. They won 11 games this year. The Chargers has won 11 games. The Chargers are going to the playoffs. They've already clinched a playoff spot. 11 wins, going to the playoffs. They got the fourth-ranked defense in yards per game. They only allow 20.1 points. They give up 288 yards. They only give up 288 yards per game to their offensive opponent, and the Houston Texans got 362. This is a team, like the Chargers aren't just a team that you're going to come in and steamroll. It's not somebody just going to come in and roll over. I put out the majority of the content leading up to the game where I asked multiple players and I asked Coach D'Amico Ryans about the playoff-like atmosphere. I think I even talked to him about it after the game, but it was a playoff-like atmosphere. Like, that's exactly what it was. It was a playoff-like atmosphere going into SoFi Stadium because the Chargers were trying to keep themselves in contention to win the AFC West. The Texans needed to win in order to clinch a playoff spot and stay within striking distance of winning the AFC South. Like, how am I the only one that see that? Yeah. I wish that the Texans, a lot of people wish that the Texans would have. Of course. Hell, the Texans wish that they would have. They wish they would have blew them out. But they stayed right there. Big fan of yours, Sarge. I know you're cool with CJ Stroud, mom, so I don't want to get you into any drama. Appreciate that. Thank you, St. Louis Rebel 2844. We have to be real. CJ Stroud needs to play better if we're going to the Super Bowl. Okay. I put this up for a reason, right? And we'll get back to talking about the Chargers and them being a good team. But I put this up for a reason. So St. Louis Rebel 2844. I had to make this point. I had to make this point in the barbershop on Tuesday. Wait, what's today? Today Tuesday? Monday. Right? I had to make this point. And I'm gonna leave this up here for a second. So I just have a question, right? If we're comparing CJ to players like Patrick Mahomes, who has been in the system for how long? Josh Allen, how long has he been in that system? Who else we're talking about? Brock Purdy, how long has he been in that system? Hell, you talk about Jordan Love, how long has he been in that system? I'm trying to think of some other quarterbacks, some other young quarterbacks who are playing well. I guess you can kind of throw. Nah, you can't. I'm trying to think of some other players. Dak Prescott, for as well as he's playing. Appreciate that, Yankees for life, but I get what you're saying. But we're also talking about a quarterback who is in his second offensive system. Uh, within his second offensive system within 3 years. He's on. This is his third year in the NFL, and so if you're going to judge him based off of that, I get it. I understand. If we're going to judge him based off of other quarterback play throughout the league, then I get it. But how much time do you give him, or what chances do you give him in order to get acclimated to playing in Nick Caley's system? There's Nick Caley and Bobby Slowick run two totally different systems. And CJ, in what, 16 games, has only played 13 games in that system. Remember, he missed three. Well, I'm sorry, he only played, I said 13, 12 and a half. Well, 12 and a quarter, because he missed 3 quarters of the Broncos game when he got concussed. And then he missed the next 3 games. And so now he had to come back and he had to get reacclimated to being in that system. Early on, he's playing with the only person that he's familiar with on that offensive line is Titus Howard. And so there's still, to me, there's still a lot of factors that go into him, learning this system. So I'm gonna say that first. So yes, you got to factor in, if you're gonna factor in something, factor in that. Also, factor in there's no Joe Mixon. And so you're playing with the running back who has had 2 major injuries coming back in Nick Chubb. You're playing with a third down back, but a special team specialist in Dare Ugabawale. You're playing with a rookie running back in Woody Marks. And you're playing with a second-year running back in Jawar Jordan, who just started getting carries like 2-3 games ago. You factor in, you have Nico Collins, but then on the other side, you have Christian Kirk, you got Jaden Higgins, who's a rookie, you got Jalen Noel, who's a rookie. So there's a lot of things that go into there's a lot of things that go into the way that CJ has played this year. Do I feel like CJ could have played better? Do I feel like CJ could have made better throws? Do I feel like CJ in some of these games, he'll even tell you. CJ will even tell you. Go back and listen to CJ's comments after the Raiders game. And after the Raiders game, he'll tell you how he should have played better. He'll tell you, hey, I missed some throws. I should have played better. Like if you go back and you listen to CJ throughout the season, he'll tell you, this ain't a typical CJ Stroud season for me. He's not going to make any excuses on why he's not playing at that 2023 elite level in which he was playing in, right? And so with that being said, he can play better, but there's other things to factor in on why he hasn't. If this was the third year in Bobby Slowick's system, I'd be like, okay. And he was playing the way he's playing, I'd be like, okay, CJ, you got to do better. This is your third year in the system. You got to do better. But no Joe Mixon. And I mean, if we keeping it a buck, like, all right, y'all give me a second. Hold on. And I appreciate the question. I mean, I appreciate the comment. Ain't no Tank Dell either. So imagine, I tweeted this out earlier this week. Imagine what Joe Mixon and Tank Dell would do in this offense. Imagine what Jaden Higgins is going to be like if Nick Caley is still calling plays by his third year. Hell, if I'm not mistaken, he has 502 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns. And sometimes he didn't even get a lot of playing time. Imagine what's going to happen when they get a steady offensive line. So I'm not saying that to say, um, I'm not saying that to say that CJ can't play better, but I'm just saying I think that there's other factors. Y'all hold on for a second, because this is what we do right here on Sports Talk with Big Sarge. I'm gonna bring Mellow Mike's comment into the I think that's White Mike too. I'm sorry, Sarge, but we see guys change offices in the span of a season. Cone, who is Cone? Wait, Cone did it twice in Tampa and Jacksonville. Ben Johnson did it in Chicago. We have hired first timers on this buddy system. All right. I'm glad you said that, Mellow Mike, because you said Cohen did it twice, and you talking about Liam Cohen, who is the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, right? Hey, Mike. Hey, tell me how Baker is doing when everything started to equal itself out. These dudes fighting for their life. They 79, Mike. Sure, Baker was playing at an MVP level the first 3 games of the season. And then people said, oh, you ain't got Liam over there. Watch what we're about to do to you. Baker Mayfield went from here to here. Here to here, right? That's the first thing. What is Trevor Lawrence doing with Liam Cohen once he got acclimated to that system? Okay, right? Another thing. You talk about Ben Johnson in Chicago. Somebody, if you can, chat, find this for me. Whose strength of schedule was harder? Texans or the Bears? So I get what you're trying to say, Mike. I get what you're trying to say, but you also are not taking into the fact that there's a lot of things that are playing into this. And hold on, let me put whoever this is up here. Hold on. No, James dash PY6KF. I don't even know what the fuck that means. You're right, bro. Just a bunch of excuses from Sarge. James, then you tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong. Prove it. Prove it. I did notice the hammer feed. Tell me where I'm wrong. Mike, tell me where I'm wrong. Just tell me if, hey, look, I definitely will have this conversation with you. I definitely will have this conversation with you. I'll have this conversation with anyone. Because if you're watching, then you know. There was a lot of times where CJ would drop back and he's saying he's looking and he's scanning the field. He's getting the time, he's scanning the field. And then he was like, hey, something ain't right. Something ain't right. You know what Nick Caley would come back and say? That's on me. In these instances, in some of these instances, I should have called a better play. And so what CJ is dropping back in and looking and anticipating is not exactly what's going on in the play. Also, Mike and James 60F4 of 138, 2200, 1 million of a billion second. I don't know who you are. I got another question. So what happens when these teams start to bracket Nico? When they start taking Nico out of the game, at some point in the time of this season, Nico was even being triple teamed by the cornerback, the safety, and the defensive end. The defensive end was dropping into coverage. The cornerback was here. The safety was playing over top. So now who you're depending on? You think Christian Kirk is going to get it done? Why do you think Dalton Schultz is having such a great season? Because he's the only other wide receiver that is like really getting open. And that's no knock at Higgins. I just told you he has 500 yards receiving, which is really good for a rookie, and 5 touchdowns. But he's still getting acclimated to playing. Noel still getting acclimated to playing. Christian Kirk went down twice with hamstring injuries. Hutch is still learning. Exactly. Expect that and go to your short game. And that's exactly what he was not doing, Eddie. That's what I didn't understand. That's exactly what I did not understand. So, as I digress, right? As I digress, Texans beat a good Chargers team. They beat a very good hold on. Thank you, Paul Axel at New Home Sales. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey man, if you send me your stuff, I'll advertise for you for free for the first 3 months of 2026. Just send me your stuff. Just send it to me. And tell me, give me the particulars. I'll make sure that I mention you on numerous occasions. Yes, exactly. As fans, we're just impatient. Exactly. Okay, y'all. I normally don't like to do this, right? I normally don't like to do this, but let me pause the show for a second and have this one-on-one with White Mike. Hey, Mike, I got a question for you. You said CJ had Mixon and Tank through 10 games last year. He still struggled. Mike, they won 10 games. They won the AFC South, and they made it to the divisional round of the playoffs. What were you expecting from him? Multiple players missing time. How many games, Mike? How many games did Tank, Diggs, and Nico play together? Don't worry, I'll wait. Go ahead. Just answer. How many games did they play together? Total games that they played together. Because Diggs was hurt, Nico was hurt, and Tank was hurt. So now, if he has all the complimentary receivers, and see, y'all think I be making excuses, but I be trying to talk some damn logic to y'all, and y'all don't want to listen. I be trying to talk logic to some of you all, and you don't want to hear me because you've already fixated in your mind what you want to say. And this ain't no shot at you, Mike, but come on, bro. Like, I understand if you just want to talk down on CJ, cool. That's cool. I'm not saying that CJ hasn't struggled over the last 2 seasons compared. And when we're saying that he's struggling because we keep comparing him to his rookie season. Mike, let me ask a question. What is CJ's record his first 3 years in the NFL? They went 10-7, 10-7. So that's 20-14. They're currently at 11-5. So that's 31-19. And if he wins this week, 32-19 in his first 3 seasons, could potentially be the AFC South champ 3 years in a row, has made the playoffs 3 years in a row. We're talking about a quarterback. Mike, we don't even evaluate quarterbacks to after year 3. Well, at least I don't. I don't evaluate quarterbacks to after year 3. I just got to telling my guy Will Guillory over at the Athletic New York Times, who covers the Rockets and the Pelicans. He's a huge New Orleans Saints fan. He was talking about his quarterback, and I was like, "Hey, look, y'all look like y'all got a good one, but let's have this conversation after year 3 because your rookie season, you come in and nobody knows what to expect from you except what they seen from you on film from college. So you can get away with a lot of stuff. Your second year, when you go through your sophomore year, now these defensive coordinators have on tape what they need or what they're looking for to make the necessary adjustments. Then in year 3, you've got your rookie season under your belt, you got your adversity year under your belt. How are you going to look afterwards? Mike, in year 3, he has still put his team in position in the postseason. Even if they get in as a wild card, they're still in position. So I don't know what you're expecting. Like, tell me what, Mike, because I got a lot of respect for you. I got a lot of respect for you. Just tell me what you were expecting, and how didn't CJ live up to it? I'm asking. I'm not making no excuses, because I've said this, and this is the part that always gets lost. I've said on numerous occasions, "Hey man, CJ ain't playing well in certain games. He hasn't played well." That's self-admitted. He said that himself. So I don't understand. I don't I don't get it. I don't understand. Anyway, I digress. You know what I looked up to? And the Texans have outscored the Chargers in the last two games, 52-28. In their last two games, they've outscored them 52-28. Herbert, 478 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. It's taken 9 sacks. 478 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and 9 sacks. Now, before I end this show, because I waited and I waited and I got everything out of the way. I got everything out of the way, so I could talk about this. I've been watching football consciously since 1975. I've seen some of the best defenses throughout that time span. That's 50 years worth of watching football. I've watched some very, very, very dominating defense. I think I watched the Steel Curtain. Did I watch the Purple People Eaters? I got to go back and think. I think so. But I watched the Steel Curtain. I watched the 85 Bears. I watched that Ravens defense, that goodness gracious alive. At some point, I thought that some of these dudes were going to have to be carted out on the field. But I've watched the Doomsday defense. I watched that Cowboys defense that had that great 3-year run. That Cowboys defense had a great 3-year run. Like I said, I watched the Steel Curtain. I've watched the Ravens. I watched the 85 Bears. I've watched the Legion of Boom in Seattle. I have seen some very, very, very good defenses. Right? I've seen some very, very, very good defenses. Man, this Texans defense this year has to rank right up there. Like it got to rank right up there with some of these defenses. And you could see it coming together last season, but this year, like that defense is playing lights out. I think they're going to have at least 2 All-Pro selections. We've seen how many players made the Pro Bowl, selected to the Pro Bowl last week. 2 starters, Will Anderson Jr. and Derek Stingley. And then Aziz made it to the roster. And then you got alternates from the defensive side of Pro Bowl alternates from the defensive side of the ball, and Kamari Lassiter, Kalen Bullock, Jalen Petrie. And this is even with them not having adequate backups. Like, if Jalen Reed doesn't get hurt, the rookie safety out of Penn State, then you see Petrie being able to roam free. They missed him for 3 games with a concussion. If they had rookie cornerback Jalen Smith out of USC, who is out for the season. If they had him being able to back up Kamari or Stingley, you see a totally different defense again. Like losing Reed and losing Smith kind of was a big thing. And I put it like this: some of y'all ain't gonna believe this, but I'll say it myself. Right? I'll say it. I'll say it. If Jalen Reed doesn't start the year off injured, if Jalen Reed doesn't get injured in the preseason, they might have cut ties with CJ Gardner Johnson early on. They may have cut ties with him a long time ago. Right? I know he didn't last long. They would have let him go earlier. Like if we keeping it a buck, and I think that I told you all, especially a Greenbrier. Was it Greenbrier? Maybe I got to go back and think. I got to look. But I know I told you all through training camp. Hey, Jalen Reed is balling, and he was like, if we keeping it a buck, he was out playing CJ Gardner Johnson. CJ Gardner Johnson would have gotten the start probably because he was a rookie. Because Reed was a rookie. CJ Gardner Johnson would have got a start because Reed was a rookie and he was a veteran, but he was out playing. But getting back to this defense, like they got 4 players on that defense that has 4 interceptions. 4 players on the defense side of the ball that have 4 interceptions, right? They also, excuse me for a second. Think what Daniil has 14 sacks. Will got 12 sacks. They're the best edge rushing duo when causing pressure on opposing teams' quarterbacks in the league. Will got 48 quarterback pressures, and Daniil has 67. They got 105 quarterback pressures. So you know what that means? That means that the quarterback, when he drops back, and if you look at what they've done to a lot of these opposing teams' quarterbacks, when they drop back, you ain't got time to go to your second and third progression because these dudes are coming at you. And then with the way that they rotate in and out these defensive tackles, they're constantly coming at you. And so when I say I've seen some very good defenses, I have seen some very good defense. And I got to rank that Houston Texans defense right up there with a lot of those that I've seen. Especially just, when I say rank them, I'm not going to rank them with some of those defenses that did it on a consistent basis because I haven't seen them do it on a consistent basis yet. But when you look, right, they got 2 edge rushers in Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter that are probably the best in the game. Those 2 combined are the best. And then if you can get past those 2, right? If you get past those 2, then guess what? Now you're trying to get past. Now you're trying to get past all pro cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. They targeted Derek one time for no yard, no reception. They targeted him one time against the Chargers. Herbert went at him one time. You got all pro Derek Stingley Jr. On the other side, it don't get no better because you got Derek Stingley Jr. clone, but he is his own person in Kamari Lassiter. Then you got a ball hawking safety in Kalen Bullock. And then you got an all-pro linebacker in Azeez Al-Shaair. And you got Henry To'oTo'o, who is playing a whole lot better this season. Like, that defense is a complete unit. And they are number 1 for a reason. They are number 1 for a reason. And that's why I waited till last to talk about them. Because, sure, let's talk about the defense, Captain Obvious. But you got to give them their props. You have to give them their props. And what we were talking about earlier, when it comes to CJ, when that offense struggles, it's the defense that has kept him in the game over and over and over again. Something that CJ has said, something that Nick Caley has said, something that D'Amico has said. That defense has kept them in games this season a lot. They go out there and they just do their job. One of their mottos is find a way, right? Sheldon Rankins told me that after the game on Saturday. He said one of our mottos in the defensive line room is just find a way. Just find a way. No matter what happens, just find a way to make a play. Just find a way. All right, y'all. I got to get up out of here. Hey, TikTok family, I appreciate y'all, man. We're going to chop it up a little bit later on. Woo. All right. Okay. Let me see. One. Y'all give me a second. All right. You've been tuning to Sports Talk with Big Sarge. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports, the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports, the Z at the end. As you know, we do everything for the gram. Make sure you're subscribed to Big Sarge Media and Texas Tailgate Talk on YouTube. Big Sarge, I'm out. Okay, so now that I've ended the show, let me get back into these comments before I leave. Oh boy, y'all have really been on it today, and I appreciate it. Ashley Knuckles, what's going on? Matthew says, I wasn't jumping ship, but I was holding on to the rail, and I admit I trusted Miko and Stroud, but I had questions about Casario. I'm still cautiously optimistic, but we are in this. Appreciate that. Ashley Knuckles, what's going on? Front runner, what's going on? Queena, what's going on? Texans Tangent, what's up, Grizz? I don't. Hold on. Let me ban you. TJ Radu, what's going on? White Mike, Alexis, what's going on? Let me see. I appreciate that, Alexis. This is why you're the only media member I listen to and trust. I appreciate that. Danielle Barris Sports Highlight. What's going on? Eddie. What's going on, EJ? Rich boy. What's going on? He said that snap. That hey, look, I was talking about this earlier. That snap era was classic. You ain't lying about that. Marcus, what's going on? Let's see what Texas Tech has. I think the difference is most predict the season results on previous statistics. While Sarge just judging what the locker room is doing and what I'm seeing. Yep, exactly. Hey, congratulations, my guy. Hey, you can get buddy passes though. Hey, Marcus, just let me. Hey, Marcus, blink twice if you can give me a buddy pass. Just go. I remember I was first to say earlier this season that Mixon would not be on the field for Houston again and would never play again for this organization. Sheesh. You're a very, very astute and observant person, Alexis. Stop it. You just want attention. You just want attention. How you hating from outside the club? You can't even get in. Leg out. Let's see what else we got over here. Who we got over here? Big DQ in the life of Kobe. What's going on? Doc Payton, what's up? Let's see what Brandon. Refs have been good at walking opposing offense down the field against us this year, even when they've been doing nothing, like in the Titans game. Yep. Mike says they isolated the corner vertically on one, occupying the safety underneath on both touchdowns. On another note, Jalen Knowles straight barbecue that secondary. Yeah. Hey, look, let me tell y'all something. I can talk to Mike like this because me and Mike have a relationship. So I don't want y'all to think um, that I don't, that I'm going at Mike. Me and Mike have this relationship. That's why we can talk ball like this because he definitely knows football. Eddie says, EJ says, so sorry, tell me this why is CJ throwing so many errant throws in coverage when there are so many safer chain moving passes he can make. Now, you want me to tell you, and I will tell you. That's an issue that he knows that he's having too. He knows that. He has said that on multiple occasions. He knows, hey man, I just got to make the safer play. He said, y'all remember he said that in a press conference. When did he say that? Sometimes I just got to take the check down, take the safer play. God dang it, which game did he say that in? I'm about to start writing stuff down next year. I remember he said that in the game. But yeah, he does. You're right. And I would like to see, y'all know how we do it here. Y'all give me a second. Let me do something right quick, y'all. And then I really gotta get up out of here because I definitely gotta pick my wife up. And I don't want to be in that traffic. So, EJ, you're right. He does. You're right. Hold on. You're right. He does. What's up, Ty Eagles? Y'all give me a second. Uh, hey, this is a great point. Thanks, Doc. That's a great point. Rich Eisen acknowledged everyone criticizing him when he steps out of his lane. I seen that too. Fisher did great for his expectations. Yep. Do anyone know the Colts are playing their rookie quarterback this weekend? Because they just want to see what he got. Let me see. Did I miss anybody? Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Let me get down to some of these comments. Vega. Let's see what Vega says. Offense has to step up in the playoffs if AFC Championship or Super Bowl is the goal. Do you agree? Yes. I said that. I said that on the Texas cookout when they asked about the offense. I said they definitely have to. They definitely have to step up. They at least have to play at a 6 or a 7. If they play at a 6 or a 7, the defense will win them that game. Yeah, Max Payne. I have no clue who you are. Yep. Good day. Come up in my. I don't even know what that is. Alexis. What is up with Harris? He's worse than Henry. They just don't trust him no more, Alexis. It's a trust thing. We gotta talk about that on New Year's Eve show. Uh Front runner, you're right. He did. Let me see. Okay. All right. I think I've gotten to most people. Let me go ahead and do this right quick, y'all. Cause I also want you to see something, right? Here goes Sarge making another excuse for CJ Stroud. All right, I don't care. All right, so you see this? This is CJ Stroud pass, short middle, 2nd and 10 from Houston 22. This is right after. This is the series that after. This is the series after the interception by Aziz Al-Shire, right? CJ threw the interception to Molden. And this is what I said for those of you all who follow me. You remember when I said yesterday, I see what CJ was looking at, and but you got to tip your hat to Molden. He also made a great play and a great read. All right, so this is what I want y'all to do, right? So, all right, so you see, right? I want you to watch something. Okay, see this? CJ's looking here first, all the while knowing that he probably wants to throw back here. See what just happened? Here's Christian Kirk right here. Here's Christian Kirk. I want y'all to watch what's happening. If he breaks this route off and runs here, CJ sees him. CJ is throwing to a spot. Watch. He rounds out the route and then tries to come back down. Well, CJ is throwing in anticipation for him to be, from what I can see, this is just me being Monday morning quarterback, okay? Looks like CJ wants to throw it to this spot right here, anticipating he's going to catch it. And if he catches, he keeps running. Especially with the safety coming down right here, you want to get here. You don't want to. CJ is already in his throwing motion. You see that. So I feel like the route should have been cut here, but he's still rounding it out and then trying to come back down. Like, why are you? Let's look at it from a different. See what CJ sees. This is from CJ's point of view. Okay. Let's look at it from the back view. That ain't showing me nothing. The sideline view is the best view. So that's why I said I could see what CJ was trying to do. And I, just like I said in my tweet, I'm not taking anything away. Molden makes a great play. He makes a great break on the ball. He reads CJ, comes down, he beats Kirk to the spot. That's my issue. Is that why did he beat Kirk to the spot? Now, another thing that I want you all to pay attention to is why not throw here, CJ? Why not throw here? Because now you started off looking to your left, right? Everything is covered. You come back right. Most people would have liked to seen the ball thrown in the flats here. Let me see if I can see it from here. Maybe I can see it from here. Probably can't. Let's see it from the TV view.
Done over the next two snaps. And another throw from Stroud.
Right here. But I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to get the ball down the field. So try to get him more yardage to get him in the field goal range. But at this point, Kirk is not doing what he needs to do. CJ and already made the decision. Molden is reading his eyes, and there we go. That is some of the things that happens, right? That's some of the things that's happening, right? What's up, Lou? Hey, tell your son I said what's going on. Who are you again? Don't worry about it. I got you. There you go. You had your 15 seconds. Bam. Good day. What did Mike say? What I miss? We also recognize CJ is dirting some of those balls, not just firing blanks. Yep. I guess my feeling is there's more meat on the bone with this offense. We have not seen its full potential. That is a great point, Mike. You're right. We've got to address the O line. They're not consistent enough for me, even though they had a decent game. That is true too. How you got two YouTube lives going? Let's see what Mike says. CJ throws that are very 23 CJ. He also has some bad misses where we as fans know he can make. Yep. I think fans just want more consistency because we know. You're right. You're right. Ah. Oh, wow. Yeah, where did I guess I'm doing something right. I guess I'm doing something right now that these bots are jumping in my live. Let me see if I can find let me see if I can share uh one more thing with you. Uh because this is the one thing that I did like. Hey, Woody Marks is doing the damn thing at the end of the game. Like when he's in the game, he's doing the damn thing. Both of the running backs are. But so this is the fourth quarter, 3:28 left, right? 3:28, second and 10 from the Houston Texans, 26. Why did I do that? Get it together, Sarge. Get it together. Let me share my screen with y'all one more time. This is one of the things that I do like about CJ because you see this? This is a jumbo package, right? This is a jumbo package for the Texans, right? It's a jumbo package for the Texans. See how many people they done walk down in this box? You see that? That's damn near 9 people in the box, right? But now this is what happens when Nico gets one-on-one, you're not going to stop this. And this was great recognition by CJ right off the rip. Oh man, come on now. Don't do me like that. Bam. See that? See if we can look at it from this way. Watch how Nico just come right in the picture. Play action, good play call. Let's see if I can do it from the sideline again. You're definitely not gonna beat him doing this. They only had 2 players in the route. Ball is already out of his hand before even comes out of his route. Let me see if there was one more play that I wanted to show you all. Give me a second. Where is it at? Is this it? This may be it. That was it. This is what I did not like. We'll go from that spot again. CJ did everything right. He moved. Why doesn't he get the ball up higher? That's what I didn't understand. I didn't understand. That was the right play. When he steps up, everybody else is covered. Kirk, you get that ball to Kirk, you get it up, get it out, he gets further. And so I get it. That's some of the frustration. That's some of the frustration. Hold on. I gotta get out of here. What time is it? Oh yeah, I gotta go. Oh, wait, hold on. Where is it at? Can't nobody. Yes, this is what I wanted to see. I gotta show y'all this. Oh my God, this is one of the best. This is one of the best defensive plays I've seen in a very long time. So here's Will, here's the Nico Autry, here's Sheldon Rankins, and here is Danielle Hunter. I want y'all to watch what Danico Autry does. Watch this. Watch this. Watch the center. Bah! Bah! Give me that. I just like good defensive plays, y'all. Hey, let's see what the center saw. Yeesh. This is a good call by defense coordinator Matt Burke. And this is what I tell you. This is what I just said earlier in the show. What are you going to do? There's so much pressure coming on you. Who was that asked me did Herbert play better? Look, there's so much pressure coming on him, and ain't nobody open. Because he got to move out of the pocket. Nobody is open. What are you going to do? There's nothing you can do. Hold on. Hold on. We got to watch this. Where is it at? Watch Derek Barnett. Sheesh. Watch Derek Barnett. Here he is right here. Watch Derek Barnett. Give me that. What you doing? You know why he's able to do that? Because watch this. Who's open? Who's open? You're running three people in the wait. There's really kind of four. There's four people in the route. Who is open? Okay. Let's look at the second one. This is the last one, y'all, and I got to get up out of here. We'll talk about this more on the what you call it show, on the New Year's Eve show. Derek Barnett, because he had back-to-back sacks. Spin move. Come here. Oh my God, he abused him. Watch the spin move. Yep. So let's see what's going on the back end. Do 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 do. Who's open? Nobody. Do do do. Who's open? Nobody. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I seen you with the Hoyas on, Larry, but I mean, was you busting up Elmer Bennett? I need to see footage. What's going on? What is the closing of four mine? Who is this? Hey, I got you, bro. I got you. Kobe, you want to see the touchdown? Yeah. Don't leave, Alexis. Let me show the touchdown pass. Don't leave. Let me show the touchdown pass. Stay here just for the touchdown pass. Don't leave, Alexis. I gotta show the touchdown pass. Yeah. Here we go. And he has so much speed. Like, beat right off by alignment. I have no clue. I have no clue on what. Yeah, right there. CJ, no, it's me. And here we go. Gone. Was beat right off the rip. CJ took the meat off the bone, right off the rip. And watch this. This is why they had to start bringing more people onto the line to either bring pressure or simulated pressure, because you're not going to give him this amount of time and I expect him to do this. Wow. Jesus. Well, I like that, Mike. I never heard that before. That's what they call me in the pass rush coverage. All right, y'all. I got to go. I'm out.